It's 11:30 on Wednesday, October 9th, 2024. I moved the puppies and the rams, so they'll be working down the second row here, and they seem to be just happy about it. Here's one of the trees that blew over in a windstorm, and then I got the bulls in the pen finally. That white bull was pretty scary for me. He likes to turn around and face me, and that's not something that I want him to do. So eventually I got him in there though. The red bull just kind of went in. He was more docile than the white one. The chickens are back there too with the bulls. Anyway, and I brought the calves back to be with the cows. I figured they were weaned, but then lo and behold, they start sucking on their mamas. And I was like, what? I thought for sure their milk was gone by now. But I guess I was wrong. Anyway, I am pooped. I'm beat. I've been here since probably 8 in the morning. So 3.5 hours to get this far. It's starting to get warm. I've got my rubber boots on, so my feet are just swimming in sweat. The leather boots at least let me breathe. But this morning there was dew, so if I wore my leather boots, they get wet with the dew. I got to put the side-by-side back. We got a slow leak in a tire, so I park it next to the tire pump so I can come to the field, pump up the tire and go. Anyway, yeah, the thinking is like this. So keep the cows together. I wanted to wean them or get them off the cows because I wanted to give the bulls some extra time to breed with the cows. And I wanted to avoid any chance of the heifers breeding with the cows, with the bulls, right? So I had to at least get the heifers off. And it's not as easy to sort heifers and steer as it is to sort cows and calves. So we got the calves and cows separated. Eventually I had to put the cows behind a fence, move them into the back 20. And after a couple of weeks of that, I thought they'd be weaned. I mean, they still know who they are, but I thought they wouldn't be nursing on each other, but they are. So maybe the calves are disappointed there's no milk, because after a couple weeks of not milking a cow, there's no milk left, right? Anyway, so I did want to keep the cows and the calves together for as long as possible. The weaning isn't because I want them to stop drinking milk. I kind of don't mind. I don't think it interferes that much with the development of the calf inside the mama. The concern is breeding with the young heifers, right? So at the very least, I need to take the older heifers off while I move the bulls on so they don't breed. And I think 8 or 9 months is 7, 8, 9 months is when they start to be open. You don't want to breed your heifer calf that young. I want the heifer calves to give birth when they're 2 years old, right? So, that being said, the calves have got to go at least by April. It's probably okay to have new calves being born with the old calves, but at some point, they start to put a lot of pressure on the grass. And so I think March, April, that's when I'm going to sell the calves, provided the hay holds out. Speaking of which, here's the hay. 90 bales of that stuff. It's not the best hay in the world. I think it's Bahia, mostly. So the thinking is that the calves stay on the cows for as long as possible, get as big as possible, as healthy as possible. There's a couple diseases the calves can catch that the cows are immune to. Blackleg is one of them. The Joel Salatin route is to eliminate potential causes of blackleg, which is like thorny brush. And Greg Judy, of course, he swears by vaccinations. I'm not going to go the vaccination route. I'm going to take my chances and not vaccinate any of my animals. I don't trust the companies who are selling these vaccines. And based on what happened in recent history, right now I'm at the point where if I get sick, I won't even go to the hospital. If I get in a car accident and break a leg or something, I'll just say, hey, let's go home. We'll fix it at home. You know, I'm just don't like hospitals. I don't trust doctors anymore. And I think vets are a whole lot more trustworthy than hospitals, because vets have to actually produce results, right? Hospitals make more money the sicker you get. But vets, if the animal doesn't get better, at some point, the farmer just gives up and says it's not worth spending any more money on this animal. The issue, and this is a little bit more philosophical, the issue has to do with the government funding healthcare. Once government gets involved in that equation, then people see that there's like an infinite supply of money. And especially if the public is persuaded, because of some sense of altruism or charity or something like that, they want to take care of sick people, and government is the vehicle to do that, then the sorts of people you get is they approach government and say, hey, give us money to do this, ostensibly because it's going to help the poor sick people, but in reality there's a huge incentive to provide minimal health care for maximum cost. In fact, there's actually an incentive to poison the well, so to speak. So there's, like, if government's hoofing the check, if government's paying the bill, then it makes sense to poison people, to cause them to go and get medical care that the government's going to pay for, right? If the people had to bear the cost of all the medical expenses, then they would be very skeptical of anyone who produced a new cure. They would be extremely skeptical of new diseases, and they would seek out for themselves what the cause of that new disease is, and would be much more willing to change their behavior or their diet to maximize the health benefits, to save money, right? And that's what needs to happen, is you need to take responsibility for your own health. You need to research and understand for yourself what medicine is and how it works. And one of the signs that the medical industry is corrupt is that the doctor means, by the way, a teacher, somebody who teaches or expounds or explains, right? That's why churches have something called doctrine. That's what the churches teach. And so doctors are people who teach, right? And so in the old days, you would go to a doctor to have that doctor teach you how to take care of your body and how to remain healthy and how to treat sickness and disease, right? But nowadays, the doctors are even worse than auto mechanics, because they won't even try to explain to you what's really going on. They'll try to give you kiddie, third grade education understanding of what's going on, but they won't teach you the exact mechanisms and the prevailing theories. And one of the reasons why they don't is because they can't. You'd be surprised at how many doctors aren't even caught up with research in their chosen field, right? So a doctor who studies cancer, for instance, is probably not caught up, most likely caught up on cancer research, and is treating their patients based on information from 20 or 30 years ago. So, and that's the reality of medicine. And the reason why it's all messed up is not because doctors are bad or stupid. It's because of that stupid profit incentive that government has entered in to the equation. They put their finger on the scale, and because government is such a powerful force, and I'm not saying a force for good, I'm saying a force, that people will kowtow and they'll adjust and they'll behave in certain ways to maximize the profit they can get from government. And that's the issue, right? My advocacy is what I want people to do is to not trust doctors, not trust the government especially, but to go learn for yourself these things. If these doctors can figure out how diseases work and stuff like that, if they can read textbooks, so can you. If they can read magazine articles, so can you. If they can read research journals, so can you. It's really not that hard. Of course, there's an entire industry built around not granting access to the general public of scientific papers. But my contention is that those papers don't matter. And the reason why they don't matter is because they're not open. If they were truly interested in the science, they'd be publishing these results far and wide so everybody has access to it. Everybody can question, everybody can analyze, and everybody can reproduce. But they don't. It's a very tight-knit industry where insiders have access, but outsiders are not even welcome. So that kind of tells you everything you need to know about the industry. Guys, have a great day. Take care and bye-bye.